Is he?
Truly, I talked to him yesterday.
Okay.
Anyway, all good. All
He's
good.
there though. So our guy's traveling the world.
Yeah. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm excited for today's class. I had a lot of fun preparing. Um, and in this last week, I've been trying to really feel great about what we've been doing, how we've been doing it, and feeling, oh, there he is. Hey, Captain LJ. Uh, And I was like, you know what? Do I want to keep teaching this class? Is this what the community needs? And I think the answer is yes. So that's nice to come back and say, yeah, I think we are doing a good thing. With that being said, I'd love any of your feedback about how we've been doing the different things that we've been doing. Um, so let's start today with a little bit of time to open up for questions. And then I hope today to add a whole lot of clarification and a summary, which I think will be really useful right now in our curricular journey. So, questions about your meditation, comments about your meditation. How's the practice been going? All right, we're gonna do silence chicken. Well, this is a good pre-meditation, calm, quiet space. All right, then let's get right into class. Okay, the takeaway didn't even work, huh? No questions, even with the takeaway. Cool, let's do it. How to meditate, class 4. We're going to get into the seven limb prayer. Okay, but before we do that, what's up, Gracie? Hey,
Hi,
nice. Good to see you.
we're good to be here.
LJ, it's also kind of okay to see you too, but you
Yeah,
know,
it's just fine to see
it's
you, Bob. But it's really great to
yeah,
see you.
yeah,
Going on, LJ? Great to see you. Gracie, very nice to meet you.
Great to meet you.
cool. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of a review. And I'm going to be asking you to respond. So, uh, Paul, you will not have the luxury of having gotten this formally, but feel free to chime in as you see fit. Guys, what is that? What is meditation? In a couple words, what is meditation?
Let's say holding your concentration on an object.
Good. Nice. I'm looking for one other thing. There's two parts. That was one.
Holding your concentration on an object with the goal of recognizing its emptiness.
Okay. Cool. So that would be a specific application of meditation, but that isn't meditation in and of itself. But that's good. That's where we're going to get to in number three, is that's a useful application.
About just
Definition,
being
nice,
that one.
cool. Yeah, okay, so the two that I would do is primarily number one, meditation is habituation of the mind. Meditation is familiarization. Habituation of the mind and familiarization. In order to do that, it's really helpful to do all the other things that you guys just described. If you wanted to deeply familiarize your mind with something, for example, emptiness, you have to be in a nicely rooted state of being. And so, uh, the definition is not necessarily the how, but it's more of, or the what are we doing when we're meditating? We're simply habituating the mind. The benefit of that is myriad. What are some of the benefits of meditation? Come on, let's go quick.
Deepening one's spiritual practice and having revelations and insights and understandings that you otherwise, probably wouldn't be able to achieve.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
I feel like mapping and qualifying the differences and link between the physical and mental.
Whoa. Hit me with that again, Jake.
Uh,
Mapping and quantifying the
well, I said qualifying, but
qualifying.
yeah, the differences and similarities between your physical and mental body.
That's sick. And I would agree wholeheartedly, in fact. Beautiful. Nice. Cool. Tie it back to familiarization and habituation. So familiarization, Jake, I see how that would get there. Um, I want to give you a very, very, very simple phrase. Seeing things as they are. Right? Like, how often do we see things in the way that we want them to be, which isn't necessarily the way that they are? So, getting back to that state of being, or Jake measuring, understanding that the difference of like, how do I think things are versus how actually are they? And if we were to say what things actually are, we would be required to have a deep and profound and accurate understanding of emptiness. So we're familiarizing ourselves with that is actually how things are, so that we can have, as LJ said, revelations and insights into the nature of things and us and world and reality. Great. I'm going to say one more thing as that I would really hope that it's something that we keep in our mind as we do this is uh, one of the benefits of meditation is discipline. Quite quite simple. Discipline. You're developing discipline. Now you can use that discipline for whatever you want, right? You can be disciplined in things that are not super useful. Uh, but it's the discipline of remembering the truth, right? And embodying that, even in the face of adversity. Because it's really easy, right? To be like, oh yeah, this is the way things are. And then life makes it very inconvenient for that to be the truth. So then you convince yourself otherwise. But because you have habituated the mind and familiarized yourself on that object, then you are so much more disciplined to carry that truth even in the face of adversity. Like your mom is being a pain in the ass, right? But you're so familiarized and habituated with the truth that this is just how she enjoys stuff, you know what I mean? And like, I'm not gonna yuck her yum, and I've trained myself to be that way. I've habituated the mind to be that way, and I'm disciplined now to be able to be like, yeah, we can enjoy things differently, even in a way that kind of is a pain in my ass, or something like that. Okay, cool. All great answers. Thank you, everybody. Um, useful and oops and unuseful applications of meditation. I'm gonna skip that one. I want to keep cruising here. Six preliminaries, because I just assume we've basically covered all that. Unuseful. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. What is the one thing that I would want to hear in this class for an unuseful application of meditation?
Like meditating on objects or like applying that level of like focus towards causes that like harm others.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so there's two things I would look for in this class. That's one of them.
Generally seeking outcomes.
I would go along with LJ. I would put your response in with LJ's. The primary thing I'm looking for here is thinking of nothing. It's a misunderstanding of emptiness. So think of like just making the mind vacant, which is different from having a direct perception of emptiness. Very different. So if you spend all of your time just vacating the mind, then the mind becomes vacated, right? And then you're like, "Hmm," and you're aloof, you're disconnected, you're, totally out of it. You're training your mind to be that way. It is very important to learn how to clear the mind, but that's not the whole purpose. That's the preliminary of a preliminary. Okay. And that is when people say meditate on emptiness, that is often the most misrepresented explanation of emptiness. Emptiness is the thing which could never be there. It's the emptiness is the lack of a thing which didn't come from you. Yeah. It's a double negative. You have to do it as a double negative. It could never not come from you. That thing, which could never not come from you, that's emptiness. Okay, this is not an emptiness class, so let's keep cruising. 6 preliminaries. Why do we do the preliminaries? Before you run a marathon, you might want to warm up, right? It's nice to arrive sweetly, right? It's foreplay, like don't just go right into it, my dude. Like gotta warm up, gotta get everybody in the mood, you know? All right. Preliminaries are really important in that sense. Lastly, posture. Who remembers meditation posture? There's 8. Let's try to get them.
Start with the weird ones. Teeth.
Yeah, okay, cool. Tell me about the teeth.
Like a relaxed jaw state, tongue able to just rest
Yep.
on top
Yeah,
ones.
good.
Straight spine, like not
Good.
overly rigid straight, but like naturally straight.
Yes. My favorite is stacked coins. Each vertebra is a coin, one stacked upon the other. Sometimes your tower goes like that of coins, but it's still totally balanced.
Hmm.
Shoulders.
Yeah, good. Shoulders are level. Jake's doing it. Hands. Good. So hands are in Chin Mudra or Jnana Mudra. Okay. And it's really interesting. You can start to feel the energy flow. The reason you do this is to create a circuit, like close the circuit of energy. Um, I swear to God, it increases concentration. Like I've tried a lot of different things. For me, it's pretty significant. Legs. Your legs are doing whatever, right? There's 19 different, but pay attention to your legs. So your knees should be below your hips, all right? Or else you're gonna have energy pool in your pelvis, which is not super helpful. Breath, even and fine. Eyes, right here. Imagine holding a little ball in front of you. Okay. You can have them slightly open or totally closed. Cool. Good. That was a passing grade. So, where do we go from here? I've mapped out the rest of what I'd love for this course to be. And so I'd like to define it now. We're going to go through the 7 limb prayer. We're going to do one limb at a time, and then we're going to do a review because in 7 weeks, you'll have forgotten the content of the first week. So then we'll do a review to wrap it all together. So that's 8 weeks, 7 limbs, and a review. Then we're going to go through the 5 problems, and this is the part, I want to jump right to this because it's so useful, but everything is so useful that I must be disciplined and measured and methodical. 5 problems and 8 solutions of meditation is so practical. It's so practical because everybody has these 5 problems, and I swear to God, these 8 solutions help us to meditate better. I am willing to teach this out of order if someone twisted my arm enough. Um, and then do it kind of cursory and then go in deep later. We'll see. But I really depend on feedback. Then we go to the 9 stages of meditation. And we're going to just do that in one class because it's a huge teaching that could take 2 years at least. Uh, and then we're going to go level by level up to stage 4, which is a gigantic milestone of every single meditator. Okay? And so that'll take 4 weeks. We'll do 1 week per stage. Okay, so that's where we're going from here. So in total, there's like three more months of curriculum for this introductory course, son. how to meditate. So it's been a little bit since we started. Wanted to do a review, wanted to do a look ahead, wanted to check comprehension, and make sure we're all on the same page. And with that, um, now let's get into today's class. Before that, questions, comments, concerns, clarifications. Trace, dos uno. Very good. All right. I made us think about this early, and I will continue to make us think about this today, and I will continue to make us think about this forever. Ethics. Okay, we have all of these 12 weeks or 14 weeks or however many weeks this is of content. Literally, none of it is important if we don't have this. Ethics. Any benefits that you have from meditation are temporary without ethics. What is the cause of a good meditation? Do not mix up the why something is useful and how something is useful. Like, so many people want to learn about the methods. How. But why? That's the most important part. Oh, 7 limbs. That's how. How do you meditate? 7 limbs. But why is meditation useful? Because you were ethical. That's why the 7 limbs could have any value. The 7 limbs are empty of any value. The 6 preliminaries are empty of any value. The 5 problems and 8 solutions, the solutions will only work if you have been helping other people. Serving others is exactly the cause to see anything you do serve you. Okay, so what'll happen, especially in a lot of other traditions that don't have such a focus on cause and effect, is that people will begin to meditate and they're like, wow, this is incredible. And they don't understand how to put capital back in the bank account, right? They're just swiping the debit card. They're like cashing in on their past kindnesses and they're like, this meditation was awesome. This meditation was awesome. Oh, well, the meditation was okay. Oh man, I can't really meditate anymore. And then people in their third to fifth year of meditating have run out of the karma for good meditation. And then they abandon the practice because they don't understand the causes of good meditation, the cause of any revelation, the cause of any insight, the cause of any benefit in your life comes from serving other people. And serving other people is just a complicated way to say ethics, right? That's all that ethics is it's a lifestyle of service. That's what ethics is. So, and you'll see people, they're going to deep retreat and they just break because they haven't made it a way of life to serve others. So before we get into this next big arc of our course, I'm gonna pit stop and talk about ethics. I'm almost done though. If you're struggling with meditation, make ethical living a way of life. Whenever you're wondering why you can't meditate, when in doubt, serve it out. That's my, that's my like that is like one of my saving graces of my whole freaking life. Like when I'm like, what should I do with my life? What should I do? Why isn't this work? Like, man, I just wish I could talk to my teacher or something like that, you know? But I know what to do every single time because the teacher can't help me, like getting a right answer won't actually help me. I have to create causes. So when in doubt, serve it out. It's so nice. Oh, should I do A in life or should I do B in life? Like both options, and which one? It's just like you make any option the right option by serving other people, and then the seeds of that option will flower. Like, obviously, it should be logical, right? So, granted that it is logical that you're using logic, serve others. Okay, cool. So, we're going to do a little bit of review into greater depth. Oh man, Jason Kappa. Absolute legend. I wish I would one day maybe we'll talk about his life story. Like the most nuts life story. I'll just share this one thing with you. And I might get I might get the details a little bit wrong. So in Tibet, Tibet is very far away from the ocean. The ocean is where conch shells grow. Like, those big old conch shells that you can like blow into like a horn if you chop off the top. Man, I forget who it was, but before the 11th century, there was a great meditator who prophesied that there would be the one who organized the Dharma again would find a conch shell at the top of a mountain in Tibet. Guess who it was? Tsongkhapa. Tsongkhapa found a conch shell in the top of a mountain and started a monastery there. Like super wildlife, and it's a series of like really incredible things like that. So Tsongkhapa is they call him the second Buddha. Really, really great, amazing practitioner. He's the one who started the lineage that I keep and the lineage that I share, which is the Gelugpas. Okay. And what he did is, if you've been feeling that my presentation of meditation has been perhaps not so clear, then it's really nice to get it all organized again into something that you can follow. That's what Tsongkhapa did for all of Buddhism. So if you think about it, a historical Buddha lived 500, like a long 2,000 years before Tsongkhapa, plus or minus. So that's a long time to like start to get things disorganized. So Tsongkhapa reorganized everything and turned it into a very followable system, which is called the Lamrim. And he wrote it in what is considered the greatest Tibetan literature ever written, as far as like construction and language. That's the great book of the Steps to Enlightenment. So the six preliminaries and the commentary on the seven limb prayer, which I'm sharing with you, comes from the great book on the Steps to Enlightenment written by Tsongkhapa, who was born in 1357. And if you want to know any pin or password to a Gelugpa, it's 1357. All right. And then originally, the seven limb prayer is based on the prayer of Samantabhadra, which was taught by Lord Buddha. Okay, so giving you a little bit of context to now jump into everyone's favorite bullet points. So we did, Jake's like, yes. So what I did is I taught the six preliminaries, and then there's the seven limb prayer. And it's like, how do these things combine? Here's how they combine in one outline. All right. And here it is, really nicely organized. So I'm going to be using this image for the next 2 months, as we're going to be going through this top to bottom. Okay. And we already did the six preliminaries, but now I'm going to show how it all integrates. This is the meditation process. This process can be completed in 3 minutes if you have this absolutely memorized. Okay. You can also spend literally 2 hours. I'm not super consistent with it, but sometimes I do 1.5 hour to 2 hour meditation on this exact structure twice a month on the 15th and the 25th day of the month.
Bob, are you
So, Jake,
sharing your screen?
is my screen not being shared?
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it on my end.
Dewey.
I have the wrong tab open. That's my fault. Sorry.
No worries. Great. I'm so glad that we're on the same page now, Jake. Okay. So here it is. The six of the preliminaries are what the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the sixth. And then the seven limb prayer is number 5. And here are the 7. Okay. So we're going to be going through this. Your yeah, okay. Your meditation goes here. So this is a preliminary, which means it's not the actual thing. It can be the thing. But if you were to do a different meditation, like a Tonglen or some kind of analytical meditation or, just any kind of meditation, that goes right after you ask for teachings, because then you go do the thing which would reveal to you a teaching. You're like, please teach me. And then you go and you try to have some insight, right? All right. Cool. So let's go through it. Tidy and clean the area. All right. That's the first one. You're doing something that could theoretically help you a lot. So treat it like it's something special by just cleaning up a couple specks of dust. If you're cleaning every single day, there's not a whole lot to clean, between meditation sessions, but still take the time to, maybe fold it, or maybe your cushion's a little cattywampus, like just do something, just a couple moments. It's really good to get your blood flowing, especially if you're doing this first in the morning. It's really nice to sweep, like chronically. And then what I always do is I say, I'm trying to, like, I dedicate the cleaning to cleaning away all of my impurities. So all the things that are the obstacles to my progress, I'm cleaning those away. It's just kind of just this nice vibey thing.
What was the
And then we
description
make off
that you just used? Chronically?
chronically. Yeah, what about that, Jake?
What does that mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have energy in our body. Have you heard of like chi and like Tai Chi? Chi and prana, uh, vital life force. The Tibetans call it wind, which is, I think, extremely functional once you start to develop a relationship with that part of your being. Is that it's the winds of the body. It's also described as like electricity. That's actually really apt. So chronically is you are not just your flesh. Your physical body, the most subtle aspect of your physical body is your prana. Your body forms around your prana. That's a very radical and deep and fun teaching that we won't get into today. But if you've ever felt jumbled up inside, you know what I mean? Like your innards you just feel jumbled up. That's your prana. Your prana's not running smoothly. Are you feeling just like good, man? You know what I mean? Like things are just flowing. The inside of your body just feels cruising. Because your prana is smooth and fine and regulated and moving nicely. And there's a direct relationship between your thoughts and your prana. Uh, Good. Then you make offerings. Making the offerings could be something like putting a flower there, or if you've ever seen these little bowls on an altar, that's an offering. So you're putting out water bowls, and each one of those have a meaning. We're not going to get into that in this class. But the point is that you're making some kind of action towards something that has no return on investment in a worldly sense. You're saying, I'm engaging in something unseen. I'm engaging in something spiritual. Everything I do, 99% of the day, is for some kind of material return. I'm going to earn money. That's why I do that thing. I'm going to earn whatever, And so this is just a time to do something radically different. And making a tiny little offering is a way to do that. We already did this, but I want to run through it again. Okay? And then LJ helped me, uh, inspired me to clarify all of this. So thank you so much, LJ. It's something we could hear 100 times, you know what I mean? At least, and it'd still be useful. Okay, so then the next one is sit down. Shut up. Begin to meditate. Okay, and there's something that I didn't teach last time I taught this that I wanted to take the moment to teach right now. Okay, uh, take 10 breaths. My teacher said, huh? And Becky, you probably know this. My teacher said, don't even think about continuing unless you've been able to count 10 breaths. Which I was like, easy. And then I tried. I was like, yo, how can I like do extremely advanced like microscopy and publish papers and I can't freaking count to 10? Like it's so wild how the mind is just this absolute like savage stallion running in the fields of distraction. And so like getting to 10 breaths. So, um, and then I started really struggling because I was like, dude, I'm 20 minutes in. I can't even do the next parts yet. And I still haven't counted to 10. Like my mind is so nuts. Uh, I've been meditating for a long time. I've forgotten about this, but I remembered yesterday that months and months and months and months of me not being able to count to 10. Right? That was the beginning of my meditation career. Okay. And then he was like, and I didn't talk to him, I talked to somebody else who's a great meditator. He's like, it's all right, like try it for a while, but let it go and continue. Which was really good advice because I started hating meditating. And the goal is not to hate what you're doing, right? Make sure that it's pleasant. When something is too difficult for your skill, it becomes something that you drop. Flow state is where capacity and challenge are met right in the middle in a beautiful tension. It should be just challenging beyond your capacity. Okay, so take 10 breaths. And the classic way to count is the out breath is 1. So normally when we think of breathing, we're like, okay, I'm going to begin breathing. 1, and it's inhale. But it's really subtle, quite profound though. Out breath is the first one. It's because it's counterintuitive, keeps your mind a little more sharp, and also prepares you for death. So that your last breath is actually something which wakes the mind up. Because that death is a unique opportunity to wake up. That's a super profound teaching we will not do in this course. Oh my gosh, I'm not recording. Am I recording? Yes, I'm recording. Yay. Okay, great. Good. When I say stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't record that. And it's like, oh, I should be recording. Okay, so take 10 breaths. Okay, and then watch your thoughts. And this is really good. I want to give you a Jedi saying here. Please write this down. Let it come, let it be, let it go. Okay, let it come, let it be, let it go. When we want to have an intentional thought and we are contending with distracted thoughts, we often say, get out of here, and we push away the distracted thoughts. Guess what that does? It distracts us even further. Being against a thing is actually a way to empower it. Which, by the way, if you're trying to subvert power structures, that's a very good piece of information. Okay? Let it come. Let it be. And then let it go. You might have heard this let a thought pass in your mind like a cloud in the sky. You know how silly you would be if you were to try to stop a cloud from crossing the sky? That's exactly what it's like to try to stop your thoughts that you don't want. It's the same futility. The way that you the way that you work with it is you let it come, you let it be, and then you let it go. And what you do is you say, and that process can be as fast as possible. Right? And then what happens is as you stop fighting it, it goes so quickly. It's like thought, oh wow, that's weird, goodbye. And actually, this is something, LJ, I wish I said when we talked yesterday and I wanted to share today. When I have weird thoughts, like I have weird thoughts that are unethical. And what I've learned to do, because I know I'm not my thoughts, is I just go, huh, that was weird. I don't get twisted up about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a bad person. Or like, ew, why would you think that? I just go, that was weird. Bye. You know, let it come, let it be, let it go. I had this like like I'm a very I don't know, sexually charged individual. So I have these very, very strong thoughts that I used to try to fight all the time, and gosh, it was like so difficult. And then I just learned to let them come, let them be, and let it go. And just go, huh, I don't want that. Goodbye. And I don't even touch it. It doesn't even like have an imprint on me anymore. It's just like it's like if someone threw a poison dart at me and I just go, whoa, ha, dodge that one. Like I'm not gonna be like, don't come at me, and then it hits me right in the forehead. No, you like let it come, dodge that shit, and then let it go. So with our thoughts, like when I have thoughts that aren't actually a reflection of my heart, because I am not my thoughts, I just go, huh. And I learned that in the discipline of number 3, which is why I'm talking about it right now. Just watch your thoughts as an objective observer, right? Without identifying as the thoughts. It's really interesting. You're like, oh, so that's where my mind is today. Good to know. I should go into today knowing, this is kind of the mental and momentum or the mental inertia that I'm coming to today with. I should be very careful. I am hella jealous this morning, or I'm extremely angry this morning, or whoa, I'm distracted. I am so agitated. I need to really make sure that I'm like not carrying that throughout all my decision making today. Hey, make a big decision. You're just like, and then you make your decision because, but if you like wake up and you know that you're agitated and you cannot control your thoughts, then you go, okay, anytime I'm about to make a big decision, 3 breaths. That's it. Because I took the time this morning to check in, take the temperature of my mind, and now I know. And now I know what to do with it. And that's the path of yoga, friends. It's to take whatever you got, be present with it, and transform it, right? Be the antidote to the poison. All right. So that is part of sit down. And then, oh man, we are not going to get to the first limb today. So that whole schedule that I showed this morning, add a week. Okay. But I feel like this, do you guys feel like this is helpful clarification? Helpful use of time?
Definitely yes.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I do feel like this is worthwhile. Okay. Um, and the doozy is, and this is where like I really, 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 really value your feedback is that I can simultaneously teach this one word for 6 months, refuge. And I could also teach it in 6 seconds and think that everybody understood it. Like I'm wildly off base in both polls. I'm like, you got that? Yeah, you got that. Great, moving on, because like I'm too close to it. So feedback and being like, slow your roll or like, let's move on. Like I really, really appreciate your feedback. So thank you. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about taking refuge. So there's 2 aspects of this, and this is really fun. I clarified this and how I'd like to teach this today. There's the thing that we do, and then there's the why that we do it. So sit down. When you sit down, take the 10 breaths, watch your thoughts. And then another phrase that I say is become present in the present. Another one that I love is become vibrantly relaxed or wake up. Right? I relax to wake up. Or another one is relax to meditate, meditate to relax. And then I always have this visualization of Bruce Lee like this. Just like totally loose, but absolutely lethal. That is my mind. Right? So relaxed that I could respond to anything quickly and powerfully. Okay, take refuge. If you're having trouble motivating yourself to meditate, these are 2 ways to get yourself to do it. Number 1, take refuge. A prerequisite of taking refuge is being aware that you're suffering. If you don't know that you're suffering, then why would you take refuge? It makes no sense. You won't stay long, and you won't go quickly. So, if you believe that there's so much suffering in this world and in your mind and in your being, then you should want to take some refuge from the suffering. Go hide in a garrison. If it's raining, open an umbrella. Unless you love the rain, but go with me. So taking refuge colloquially means I am sick of all the causes of suffering and I decide to not do that anymore. I'm gonna go and put my mind in a place where suffering cannot exist, where I'm protected from suffering. So where do you go to take refuge? The definition of a Buddhist is the one who takes refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And these are the 3 jewels. I chose not to teach that deeply in this course because I didn't want to do that. Um, it's extraordinary, of course, but you can just think of it as emptiness. Like, what do you know about cause and effect, and what do you know about the ultimate nature of reality? Because that's essentially all that the three jewels are, right? So I understand emptiness. I'm taking refuge because I'm not going to go and try to consume my way to liberation. You know what I mean? Like, more ice cream won't make me a happier person. I need truth. That's what will be my salvation is truth. And then so out of suffering, take refuge. Now that you're here, what do you do next? You generate bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the wish to become the best version of you so that you could serve all beings to the best of your capacity. What a great mission in life. And so, in the more religious terms, you would say, I wish to become an enlightened being for the sake of all beings. So, I'm sick of suffering. I choose not to do that anymore. And in fact, I want to be the best version of me for everybody. We just did that step in one sentence, right? So you can do the step in that one sentence. You can also dwell here and abide in these thoughts as long as you feel as fruitful. Okay. And then the garden. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to meditate. And this is going to be the end of today. So visualizing the garden, I wanted to give you a literal visualization. Becky, have you been to Diamond Mountain? No. Okay. There is a like 6 foot tall image of this on the wall in one of the retreat cabins in where a lot of our community goes to retreat. And this is it. This is the garden. Really, really cool. Okay, so um, I'm gonna tell you what it is technically, and then we can talk about it kind of metaphorically. Technically, we are imagining what's called a merit field, which is a garden or a field of all of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, great protectors, teachers of our life, just every single holy being. And what we do is we imagine them in a cloud in front of us. Remember when you were in like high school or middle school and the principal walks in and everyone shuts the F up and acts appropriately? That's what this does to you. Right? So when you visualize your teacher, and especially if you visualize your teacher as like Buddha Shakyamuni, which is what this depiction specifically is, with Vajradhara at his heart, and then the masses of great beings and protectors in a cloud around them, you just really perk up. Right? If you knew your teacher was watching you, how would you perform? And then also, anything that you do as an offering to the people who have helped you is something that's very beautiful. The power of that. Like helping some random person that you hardly know is beautiful. Helping somebody who has given you their entire love is even more potent from a cause and effect standpoint. And so when we bring into our meditation this garden, this field of great beings, it literally increases the power of the causes that we're planting in our meditation. Okay? And then from there, then we go into the seven limbs. So this is all just like kind of like setting the table, lighting the candles, sweeping up the shop, before you do the thing. Or if you're going for a marathon, you do your da da da, you tighten your shoelaces, you think about the path that you're about to go on, and then you're about to do like the next part. Okay. So those are the first four preliminaries in greater detail. Okay. So metaphorically, I'm sorry. It took me years and years and years before I could really start to feel like this was something I wanted to do personally. Like the way that I entered into this was I really thought that the patterns were beautiful in Buddhism. didn't know if I like cared too much about Buddhas and stuff, you know. But I just was like, these patterns are super spicy, you know, like they make a lot of sense. And then over time, I've come to understand why this is just an extension of those patterns and how it actually makes the patterns more potent. Um, but this is not how I initially did it. So what I really encourage you to do is, as you're hearing all this, I am teaching this in a very what you would consider religious way. But I really implore you to consider Buddhism as a science or as an art form more than a religion, and think about the principles that are at hand because the principles are the only thing that matters. And then how those principles are interpreted by a culture, that's where we get like the word Buddha. You know what I mean? It's just a way that someone decided to talk about a specific thing, and then a bunch of people agreed that that was a convenient way to talk about it. So please adapt and interpret all of these things in a way that your mind can sink its teeth into, because that's what's important. It's not important that you imagine like a bunch of dudes with halos around their heads or something like that. You know, like maybe one day that will be something that is incredibly potent for you. It doesn't have to be. The point here is to just surround yourself with great beings who lift your mind up and open your heart. Jake.
Um, to repeat back to you, just to make sure I understand what you just said, is the idea that we should accept the ethic that we're doing this for the sake of all beings, and then just incorporate whatever it is that we're remembering, whatever it is that you're saying that stands out, and in time, this filter may become more potent, but if hard to wrap our heads around right now, totally okay. As long as the ethic, which I understand is for the sake of all beings, being like the majority of it, is something that we're engaging with wholeheartedly.
I think I agree with you entirely. I'm not sure that I totally understood you, but I think I agree with everything that you just said.
I'm not sure I totally understand myself, man.
The more I meditate, the more I've learned that that is the beginning of wisdom, by the way. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna try to repeat back to you what I think you said
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I would wholeheartedly agree with.
Mm-hmm.
The whole purpose here is to serve all beings to the greatest of our capacity. How to do that? We have a lot of ideas around that, and they're patterns. Paul, as Lord Leto said in Dune Book 4, everything's a pattern. Just take the patterns, you know? Because that's, you run a program, and a program is just a pattern. So what's the pattern that's going to get us the weave of bliss? You know, follow that pattern. So here's a bunch of patterns. Like, was Lord Buddha like only Buddhists would understand the value of a clean and tidy area? No, they were just like, hey, you want to like concentrate nicely? Clean up first. Good idea, right? And you're like, yeah, probably good idea. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, well, cool. If we can do anything, let's attribute the most amount of spiritual value to whatever action we do. And so what I do, because I think that everything can be ultimately meaningful. Like I don't think that there things being trivial is a choice and a misunderstanding, I believe. Every single thing ever holds within it infinity. So every single thing can have infinite power if you were just present enough and you had a view to see it as a miracle. So, and then that's where religion comes into play, is like, well, how do you talk about that in a language that is something you can link onto? But the principle is clean up because it's really good for stuff and stuff. You know? Because if you're gonna be a great person, like it's really great to be like clear and efficient and clean. It's kind of difficult, you know, to meditate if you can't find your cushion, right? So it's like a pretty good pattern, and then you say, in my heart, as I'm doing this, I'm imagining that everything that is dirty about me, like my impure motivations, or like being yeah, just my impure motivations or my misunderstandings of things, I'm clearing those away as I'm clearing my space. And then now in this cleared space, that's where I choose to be. Right? So we can see there's something very beautifully symbolic of it that we can put with a physical thing, and that is what yoga is. It's the union of the mind and the body in some kind of fully integrated practice where every single thing is for the sake of all beings. So when we make an offering, you can think of it as like literally you're making an offering to Buddhas who are literally around you, which is extraordinary, by the way. If you can really sink your teeth into that, if that can become a real thing for you, holy crap, guys. It's incredible. It's, you know how hard it is to hurt somebody when you think that Buddhas are surrounding you? Like it's really difficult. You know how hard it is to be greedy and selfish when you see angels all around you? No, you're generous, you're kind, you're patient, So habituate yourself, and then maybe you'd realize that that's actually the way it is anyway. And then maybe you realize that it's that way because you made it that way through habituation and familiarization of the mind. So anyway, taking refuge makes a lot of sense. A lot of people take refuge in drugs and alcohol. How's that going? Right? Life is suffering, so let me drink away into numbness. Okay, people do this. It's a pattern. Let's use the pattern for a better outcome. How do I do it in a way that is good for me and for everybody? It meets my needs and everybody else's needs. And this is what a bunch of really smart thinkers and meditators said. Well, we take refuge in truth, which is emptiness and cause and effect, essentially, karma and emptiness. And then out of that, we understand that compassion is the driver for all things. If you just follow that pattern, just see what happens to your mind and your being. All right, Jake, maybe that's a long answer, but
The beautiful answer, man. Help me with something that I've been working on.
cool. And I think I've talked longer than we're not gonna meditate. Um, because we got 5 minutes and that's not good. I mean, if that's all you can do, great. But I choose not to set that pattern. Visualize the garden. So I'll do this last one then. If we understand a garden, first verse of the fourth chapter of the Yoga Sutra, we must become as gardeners. Master Patanjali tells us to be gardeners. Voltaire also said it, by the way. Cultivate the mind. Same exact idea. Cultivate the mind. And so we can see, if we see the flower of a Buddha in front of us, that means that we planted the seed for it. That's a badass garden. Right? So one of the best ways to engage with the garden is to understand where the garden came from. And so we can see it in two ways. Number one is it's a field in which to plant seeds, right? When I look at my wife, she's a great field to plant seeds in because she's so near and dear to my heart. So when I'm kind to her, that's a great place to be kind. That's a good field to plant the seeds of kindness. And also, my wife is a flower. She is an absolute exquisite blossom. And I drink her in through every single one of my senses, with total splendor. That's also how a good way to enjoy a garden. And if I perceive my wife with those two conceptions, it is very difficult to be an asshole, right? I want to be good. Like, I just want to be good. It feels good to be good when I can see the world that way. And so that's what we're doing here. And so you can see it in that way in the sense of the literal physical teachers who show up in your world, like your third grade teacher, your football coach, your piano teacher from, when you're 8 years old, or, the guy who taught you transportation or something like that. Uh, but you can also see it as, if you would like, a literal cloud of a mass of literal divine and holy beings. And then one day, you'll begin to wonder what the difference is. And then you'll realize that there isn't one. And it's all just the same thing the whole time. That every single being who showed up in your life is someone who cares about you more than you could ever understand and yearns deeply for your liberation and will do whatever they need to, including showing up as someone who's extremely frustrating in order to give you an opportunity to learn something and be different. And then the veil's dropped. And you say, oh my gosh, that person was that person the whole time? And you'll see that that is simply nothing more than a karmic shift. An image has opened in your mind as a perceived reality. And it was the same reality the whole time. You're just seeing it in a new way. The world doesn't become more beautiful because the world gets more beautiful. The world becomes more beautiful because your mind becomes a more beautiful garden. And the world is a reflection of your mind and your heart. So that's the garden. Okay. So I'm going to do this in 2 minutes so that you can see how you could do this in 2 minutes. Ready? Here we go. I walk into the room. It's already pretty clean because my room is clean. My cushion's a little sideways. Fix the cushion. There's a little bit of dust. Clean the dust. Ah, I brought a flower with me. Or I brought a cookie with me. Or I brought a pure heart with me. And I set that literally or figuratively on my altar. I sit down. I get into a good posture. 8 points. Go through the points. 10 breaths. Ah, shoot. 10 breaths take a minute. All right, so I can't do it in 10 minutes. Take 10 breaths. Watch my thoughts. Take refuge. And literally, this is language that I would use. Fuck, there's so much suffering. I'm not gonna participate in that. I'm gonna do my best not to participate in that. Where will I go? Emptiness. I know the true nature of things. Emptiness. I take refuge in emptiness. Why? So that I become the best person that I can. Cause and effect. I will plant the causes to become an enlightened being just so that I can help everybody, including myself, bodhicitta. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, I'm bringing my teacher in front of me. Hello. Wow. I love you. Thank you so much. Okay, and around my teacher, I see the entire lineage. I see every single divine being. I see a cloud of divine beings. Holy shit. Oh my God. Whoa. Y'all look amazing. Hmm. What a what a what a great what a great thing that I can be in the presence of all of my teachers. Okay, I'm gonna meditate. And then I begin meditating. Okay. Uh, so I use very, very, very like I gotta feel it, you know? So I use language that I can connect with. Okay. In order for me to be able to have that be a very clear thing, I've taken my time and I've done each of the pieces in a way that like is a familiar thing. Like, when you're about to make your coffee in the morning, like you don't have to think about where the coffee is. You just get the coffee, put the coffee in the thing, you do the whatever, so like it becomes just this really nice thing that you can kind of glide through and go through nicely. All right, guys. In typical Bob fashion, we ran out of time to meditate today. Uh, which means that you have to meditate on your own instead of with Bob. So, but that's an example of just, kind of jamming through it in a way that's still, in my opinion, really high integrity. Uh, and then, like I said, twice a month, I'll do this for a whole 2 hours, which each one of these steps is like, 20 to 30 minutes each, which is extraordinary. So, but because I've done that, now I can just jam through it and be like, yeah, 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 cool. All right. Please go if you need to go. Please stay if you'd like to stay and
See you
ask for
later.
clarifications.
Nice to meet you
Great people.
guys.
Bob, I just wanted to share one thing. I was curious, like, if you were familiar with regards to spiritual warrior that I thought about earlier on. Have you heard of heroic
Never heard of it.
It's by this guy, Brian Johnson. Not like the guy who's trying to live forever, Brian Johnson, but different Brian Johnson. Really, really deep stoic that you remind me of, honestly. But
Great.
he's essentially created this massive repository, and when you're like walking through these slides, I see like the seeds of it for potentially like a Buddhist version of this movement. His goal, so the entire company's mission is for 51% of mankind to flourish by the year 2050. Um,
Huh.
and
That's
so
cool.
yeah, so he's like grinding. And it's just like I see the uh
Wow.
yeah, I see the similarities
Cool.
pretty strongly, but I thought that you might enjoy it. And I can like share some of the stuff. Like he does really cool summaries of readings and books that he'll relate to other readings and books that like you share a similar depth of knowledge of, like when someone's talking to you and you're like, it reminds me of this teaching, which plays on this teaching, which also has like
Nice.
the only other person I've really seen who does this.
Well,
So
cool. Well, thank you. I'm gonna look into that. I appreciate it.
yeah,
And that was very generous of you. And I will go and study his customer acquisition strategy.
that's awesome. No, no. So like, I think that they might be pivoting. They've done a ton of stuff, and I think that he might be pivoting into schools,
Oh, cool.
um, partially. But like, I could try to set something up. I am like 1 degree removed.
Oh, rock on. Cool.
Yeah,
I always just love enjoyed talking to interesting people, period. It's fun to just like rap.
yeah.
So yeah, if that's a possibility, I like meeting good people.
Let me get to work on my side.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much. By the way, I love the 51% idea. I'm just shooting for three though. I don't know if you guys have ever studied how 3% of a population shifts the entire culture. Like a culture shift comes from, I mean, how do you actually measure this? But I've read some really cool studies where they said that culture shift comes from 3%,
It's hell yeah.
which is interesting. Anyway, and then, well, yeah, anyway, cool. Well, thank you so much, Jake.
Sweet man.
LJ, Grace, see?
Just wanted to say what's up. And thanks for class.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, what's up?
How's the world, guys?
Yeah, dude, we're in Buenos Aires right now.
That's what Bob was saying. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's in Iceland. And Bob's like, no, he's in Argentina. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. He's just,
You're 48 hours behind the times, Jake. Keep up, buddy.
I'm trying. My bad. Hell yeah.
How have you been, Jake?
I'm good, dude. I want to catch up with you whenever you end up back here.
I know, I know. Maybe we can catch up this week, actually. I'll text you. It's so long overdue.
I know, 1,000%. Um,
All right, gang. Well, we're gonna get some coffee and do our thing, but it was beautiful sharing
Yeah.
time and space with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how was that, LJ?
I thought it was good. I really would.